Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Just Trying to Survive and Learn to Love Along the Way. This will be Part 18, Chapters 34 and 35. Chapter 34, Of Results and Malls. Izuku wakes up, curled up on the couch with a soft blanket thrown over him. The cats are still there, both asleep against his legs. He sits up slowly, weary of the pain, and finds that it's not nearly as bad as he thought it would be. His back throbs and he's got a few random aches and pains, but he felt at least 10 times worse yesterday. Thank God for Recovery Girl. He looks down at himself when the blanket falls off, and blushes. He's still wearing Zashi's jacket and his gym shorts, and he looks completely ridiculous. He's also got a sling on his right arm, and it's not until he moves it that the pain from the injury returns. He makes his way to his room to change and glances at the time as he goes. They have to leave for school soon. He rushes through getting ready and speeds into the kitchen. His dad's looking surprised at his entrance. "I take it you're feeling better." Sho eyes him from his spot against the counter. "Mostly, yeah. Still a little sore, but I've had worse." Zashi frowns at him, but makes no comment as he pours himself a generous amount of cereal. "Make sure you put your sling back on. Recovery Girl said you need to wear it today." Izuku grumbles and returns to his room to grab it, grabbing Zashi's jacket while he's in there. The man grabs both from his hands and helps him put the sling on. Izuku is grateful. He has no clue how to adjust it properly. Before he knows it, they're leaving home and arriving at school. They left a little later than usual because of Izuku's sleep-in, so the hallways are a little more crowded as he makes his way to the class. Most of his classmates are already present, and they're laughing loudly, talking about how good their team-up was for the exam. Only a few students look a little morose, sitting quietly at their desks instead of joining in on the conversations. "Hey, Hitoshi." His friend looks up at his name and smiles, eyeing where his arm is trapped. "Hey, Izuku. How'd your practical go?" Izuku frowns as he sits down, wincing a little at the pull on his back. It was okay. I think we passed." "How do you not know?" Hitoshi has a frown on his face as he asks the question. "Well, I passed out as soon as we got through the gate. So we must have, right?" "I sure hope so. I don't think I'd survive this training camp without you." Shouta walks in before he has the chance to respond, and the class chatter quickly dies down. Miraculously, everyone passed the written portion. Sato, Kirishima, Kaminari, Mina, and Sero, you all failed the practical portion. You'll be required to attend remedial courses at training camp. It takes a minute for the words to settle in, and the failed students are cheering. "This means we actually get to go?" Mina looks far too excited about this. Izuku sits back in his chair a little, as if it could help him escape her enthusiasm. "That's what I said. Now, let's go over the exam for the students who didn't do as well." The rest of the day goes by quickly, and Izuku is looking forward to spending Friday night relaxing at home. "Hey, Deku, do you have any plans tomorrow?" Uraraka approaches, Ida hot on her heels. Izuku exchanges a look with Hitoshi before answering. "No." "Well, you do now. Almost the whole class is going to Kiyoshi Ward Shopping Mall. We all need to get stuff for the training camp." Izuku already has everything he needs, but a day at the mall could be fun. He's never actually been to one before, so he'll have to make sure to stick to his friends. "I'll have to ask my dad's first." Hitoshi raises his eyebrows at him. "Okay, Deku. Just text us when you know. Shinso, you should come too." "Fine." They watch Uraraka and Ida walk away. A glance at the front of the room tells him that Shouta went on ahead to the teacher's lounge, so it looks like he'll have to meet them there. Shinso sticks to his side when he starts the trek. So, when did you start calling them your dads? Izuku blushes and looks down at his feet before mumbling out an answer. It, only started recently. It just felt right for me, you know? And they filled out the papers to adopt me, so... They're adopting you? Holy shit, that's great, Izuku. Hitoshi practically yells this in the crowded hallway. They get a few odd looks from passerbys, and Izuku glares at his companion. Hitoshi slaps a hand on his mouth when he realizes his volume, and gives him a sheepish look. By now, they've reached the teacher's lounge, and Izuku bids his friend goodbye before opening the door. He's greeted by yelling. Sho! The listener's here. Can we go home? Sho cuts off his quirk mid-sentence, and Izuku can't help but laugh at the looks on his dad's faces. Shouta sporting a fond glare while Hisashi pouts at the man. Let's go, problem child. They make the walk to the car in silence, only broken once they're halfway home. Hey, Dads? Sho turns in his seat to look at him with a fond smile. Yeah, Izuku? Do you think I could go to the mall tomorrow? It sounds like most of the class is going to grab stuff for the training camp. Of course, listener. You need any money for stuff? Nope, I just want to hang out with my friends. I think we already got everything I need. Shouta smiles at him and nods his head before turning back to the front. Saturday arrives quickly, and sooner than Izuku thinks, Hisashi is dropping him off at the mall on his way to the radio station. Just call me or Sho if you need anything, Kay? You'll probably have better luck with Sho since I'm at work and he's lazing around with the cats. Zashi gives him a wink as he makes the comment, and Izuku huffs out a laugh at him as he opens the car door. Okay, bye, Dad. He shuts the door too quickly to hear Zashi's response and runs off towards the entrance and where his friends said they would meet. Most of his class is already there, save for Shoto and Bakugo. Midoriya, glad you could make it. Ida gives him a smile as he slides up next to Shinso, and Izuku returns it easily. Now, I suggest we split into groups together for the simplest shopping experience. Say we meet back here at 1 for lunch. Everyone nods in agreement at Ida's idea and scurries off in their groups, leaving Izuku standing with Hitoshi in the center of the mall. Well, I don't actually need anything here. Hitoshi shoots him a soft grin before answering. Me neither. I do, however, need coffee. Want to wait here while I grab us some? It gets pretty crowded near the shops. Izuku gives him a grateful nod, and he turns away, blending in with the crowd. Izuku stands there hopelessly for a few minutes before a voice calls out for him. Hey, don't you go to UA? You were in the sports festival, right? Think I could get your autograph? An arm slinks around his shoulder and holds tight. Izuku opens his mouth to answer, to ask this man to let go of him, but his next words stop him short. You fought the hero killer too, right? So cool that you got away. Something is definitely not right here, and Izuku itches to shove the man off of him. There's no way anyone should have that information. Man, how lucky am I that we get to meet again? Izuku recognizes the voice now, and it's none other than Tomura Shigaraki, the man who attacked the USJ and nearly killed them all. Things are going so wrong here, and he's been at the mall less than 20 minutes. Why don't you join me for some tea? The man's hand snakes around his neck, grabbing it with bruising force with 4 of his fingers, leaving the last, slightly raised, in a silent threat. Chapter 35 of Malls and Panic. Shigaraki leads him to a nearby bench in the middle of a crowd. How can nobody see what he's doing? Izuku should just cry out for help and hope that someone does. Shigaraki speaks up, as if hearing his line of thought. I wouldn't if I were you. I could probably kill almost everyone here before a hero shows up. All I want is to talk. Izuku highly doubts that's all he wants, but he stays silent. The threat to the crowd, too great for him to risk. What do you want? I want many things, young hero, most of all to understand. Why is the hero killer so popular? I was in the limelight until he showed up. That's an interesting comment to make. Weren't they working together? I thought he was part of the League. Shigaraki's hand tightens at the comment, and Izuku has to remember to breathe. That man has nothing to do with us. The damn media just assumed he was. Why do people care about him so much more? What has he accomplished that I haven't? Izuku stays silent, unsure if he's supposed to answer. He feels the ghost of a fingertip on his neck and he gasps. Well? Oh, so it wasn't a rhetorical question. Well, I think there's one major difference between you two. Stain had a goal, a reason for doing what he did. He was inspired by All Might, just like I was. I don't agree with his methods, but at least I understand that. With you, it's as if you don't have a reason for doing all this. It makes no sense. Izuku's words trail off at the end, becoming unsure of himself and his answer. He doesn't expect Shigaraki to laugh of all things, but that's exactly what the man does. It all makes sense now. It all goes back to All Might. The man's hand tightens around his neck at the mention of the hero, cutting off his air supply. Izuku panics, now bringing his hands up to his throat to try and pry the other man off of him. I wouldn't do that if I were you. He slaps Izuku's hands away with ease, keeping up the pressure with his other hand. Izuku can't breathe, and people still aren't noticing. He looks around frantically, trying to catch someone's eye, when a voice sounds out in front of them. Izuku? Hitoshi feels mildly guilty leaving Izuku behind like that, but he needs coffee for dealing with the mall. He's got a feeling that Izuku would not be able to handle the crowd that usually hangs around the coffee shop. And what a crowd it is. He's at least number 15 down the line. Thankfully, it seems like they've got all their experienced workers in today because Hitoshi reaches the front of the line fairly quickly. He thinks about the other boy as he waits for their drinks. They'd held hands the other week. Hitoshi doesn't know how to feel about that. Yeah, he likes Izuku, but could he really feel the same way? Izuku is the one that initiated the contact, so maybe he does. Neither of them had said a word about it since. Hitoshi thinks that they're equally afraid to. He checks his phone as he makes his way back to his friend, drink tray in hand. He'd left him alone for almost 20 minutes. Hitoshi picks up the pace a little, guilt eating away at him. He gets back to where he left Izuku and freezes. He's not there. He looks around frantically for a few minutes before he finds him, sitting on a bench next to a stranger. Izuku looks uncomfortable and scared, so Hitoshi takes a closer look. The man has a hand around his friend's neck. An even closer look at the man's face has Hitoshi stepping back in fear. That's Shigaraki, the man who attacked the class. It was before his time, but Hitoshi had seen enough wanted posters for the man that he could recognize him in his sleep, even without the creepy hand mask. He says a silent apology to Izuku as he ducks around the corner and pulls out his phone. Picking one of the first contacts, he answers on the second ring. Eraserhead. Aizawa-sensei, you need to get to the mall. Shinso, what's going on? He can hear the teacher rummaging around on the other end of the call and hopes it's the man leaving his home so he can help. He's here. He's here and he has Izuku. Hitoshi can't help but to panic a little. Who's there? Shigaraki. There's a sharp inhale on the other end of the line. Shit, I'm on my way. I need you to call the mall security. I'll contact the police. The dial tone signals the end of the conversation, and Hitoshi frantically does as he's told. Security should know if there are any heroes in the mall and send them to help. If not, they can at least evacuate the rest of the stores. Hitoshi peeks around the corner after a few minutes and pales. Izuku is clearly struggling, clawing at his neck as if he can't breathe. His eyes are darting around, never focusing on anything for more than a few seconds. Hitoshi knows he should wait for the heroes, but he needs to help his friend. So he calmly makes his way over to the pair, neither noticing his approach. Izuku? He tries to keep his tone light, trying not to startle the man so much that he places the last digit on his friend's neck. Izuku looks at him fearfully, breathing ragged and tears in his eyes. He tries to shake his head at him, but it comes out barely noticeable, the grip on his neck halting his movements. Oh, we're just old friends catching up. Isn't that right, Izuku? He opens his mouth to answer, and nothing but a wheeze makes it out. I know who you are. You're Shigaraki, aren't you? Hitoshi knows it's a risk, but if he can get the man to answer him, then he can use his quirk and make him let go of Izuku. The man stands abruptly, dragging Izuku with him. He's opening his mouth to answer when they're interrupted. Police, drop the boy. They arrived while Hitoshi wasn't looking. The officers are all aiming their guns at Shigaraki. Izuku pales even further in his grip. Shigaraki flashes him a grin before shoving Izuku to the ground and running off into the crowd. The police chase after him, unwilling to fire into a group of innocent people. Only one officer stays behind. A detective by the looks of it. He moves past where Hitoshi stands frozen and kneels down beside Izuku, who is curled into himself. He places a hand on Izuku's shoulder and he flinches away, breathing getting impossibly shallower as Hitoshi convinces himself to move closer. Izuku, it's Detective Tsukauchi. Do you remember me? Izuku gives him a shaky nod, but doesn't uncurl. I need you to breathe, okay? Your dad's almost here. Izuku shakes his head at that, so Hitoshi steps forwards. I might be able to help. If I can get him to respond, then I can use my quirk to calm him down. The detective turns his frown on him and beckons him closer. Hey, Izuku, can you answer something for me? His friend doesn't give any indication that he's heard him. Izuku, please, I just want to help. He just shakes his head, holding himself tighter. This is not working. If anything, it's making things worse. There's the sound of running footsteps, and Hitoshi tenses, turning towards the sound. It's Eraserhead, and he's running full speed towards them. He slides to a stop beside them and kneels down to their level. He's quick to take stock of the situation and speaks with a slight frown on his face. Hey, Izuku, I need you to calm down for me. Take a few deep breaths, okay? He's never heard his teacher this soft before, and he'd joke about it if it were any other circumstance. It sounds like Izuku is trying to talk, but Hitoshi can't make a single word out. Judging by the frown on Aizawa-sensei's face, he can. His teacher doesn't hesitate before pulling Izuku in his arms and pressing his head against his chest. Just follow my breathing, okay? The man takes exaggerated breaths, and he can see Izuku trying to follow them. You're doing great, Izuku. Just keep breathing like that. It takes a few minutes, but his friend's breathing eventually returns to normal. Aizawa-sensei doesn't let go of him when it does, just keeps holding him tightly. Hitoshi sighs in relief and looks around. It seems like they're the only ones in this area. Maybe the only ones in the mall. The only people he sees are a few police officers milling around. Hitoshi opens his mouth to ask the detective when his phone starts ringing. Izuku flinches at the sound, and Hitoshi quickly answers it. Shinso, where are you guys? Are you and Deku okay? Izuku and I are fine. Where are you guys? They said there was a villain attack. We're still in the mall, but we're with the police, so it's fine now. Oh, okay, that's good. What? Hitoshi hangs up the phone without saying goodbye, feeling utterly drained. Think you kids could come to the station? I need to take your statements. Can you give us a lift? Zashi has the car. How in the world did their teacher get here so quickly without a car? Of course. Shinso, you good to come? How does the detective know his name? His surprise must show on his face because the detective chuckles lightly before gesturing towards his teacher. Eraser told me you were with Izuku when he called. Hitoshi nods at the man and stands. He glances over to his friend and sees Aizawa pulling him up. Izuku is pale, tear tracks on his face, and unsteady on his feet. His teacher places a supportive hand on his back and follows Tsukauchi out of the mall, Hitoshi taking the rear. All right, listeners, this concludes Chapter 35 of Just Trying to Survive and Learn to Love Along the Way. Chapter 36 will be up next. I hope you enjoyed these chapters. Personally, I like the way the author put this together where it's Hitoshi with Izuku in the mall instead of Uraraka. I like the fact that the police are able to arrive because instead of just standing and watching or going and talking to them, Hitoshi actually took the initiative to call Aizawa for help. So there's an opportunity for them to step in sooner. So I think that the author did a really nice job kind of creating their own way that this mall scene was going to play out. So drop your comments below for me. Let me know what you're thinking of everything so far. And as always, thank you all so much for listening.